All right, Pirate Sam and Gronk. You've dragged your little rowboat to the edge of Barnacle Bay. Sam, you now have in your hands your dead father's treasure map. What do you do? Arr! My arms are tired from holding this map. Is this here the place? Well, behind you is a 30-foot tall, white rocky spire that certainly looks like Dead Man's Finger. And you're pretty sure the geography matches. This definitely looks like the place. All right, Gronk, me over, muscled half-orcan friend. You just need to drag that big boat over there to that water, and we'll be off to find our fortune.
So what map say?
This map here. Well, first it says you need to quit your belly aching, get in the boat, row for an hour that away, so we can find me dead da's treasure. Tally ho, Tusky.
But Gronk tired after pulling boats. Why not Sam row?
Because I need to look at me compass, steer the boat, and hold me dead da's map with me right foot. You've only got 2 oars. Chop, chop. At this point, the Dungeon Master rolls some random dice behind the screen and pretends to consult a non-existent weather chart. When did we get a voiceover? Anyways, you both notice a thick fog begin to roll in from off the sea. Navigation will be difficult. But I'm a pirate. Says so right me name, Pirate Sam. Alright, Sam. I'll give you a +4 to your navigation check. I rolled a 10, so that's 14 in total. After an hour of rowing, the fog is still thick. You think you should have reached Cutthroat Isle by now, but you're not sure. Do you want to keep going? Do I think this cursed fog will lift anytime soon? You're not sure. Well, Gronk, my half-orcan friend, maybe we should wait for a little while for this fog to lift, eh?
Oh, Gronk try! Gronk rolled 18!
Alright, Gronk, you pick some random direction and row really hard, and in about 5 minutes, your half-orcan night vision notices a rocky shoreline. This is Cutthroat Isle. Great job, Gronk! Welcome to my basic D&D life. If you hadn't guessed already, this video is about skills, but not so much skills for 5th edition. It's skills for the older editions. I play a lot of basic and basic fantasy. If you do want to see more about skills for 5th edition and when and how to use them, I would suggest you check out the Demigod of Dungeon Masters. That's Matt Colville. He has 2 wonderful videos regarding skills and also dogpiling of skills, which was what my example was about. Basically, dogpiling, as soon as somebody rolls, everybody wants to roll. His suggestion for that is, unless you have a reason, whether by proficiency, background, or skill, you just don't get a roll, unless you can convince the Dungeon Master otherwise, and I think that's fair. Why am I doing a video about skills? Well, my reason is that I started with this, and this is Tom Mulvey's basic. There are no skills in basic D&D. There are no skills in expert D&D. There are no skills in advanced D&D either. Now, in the Frank Metzer BECMI, Basic Expert Companion Masters Immortal, Actually, there were weapon proficiencies, and by the time the real cyclopedia hit, they'd collected a lot of skills published in the Gazetteers and collected those sort of like a roll under. So if I wanted to walk a tightrope, roll under dexterity on the D20, equal to or under, hey, you made it, great job, right? Problem is, a lot of people didn't like to roll under something. They got confused because if I have to roll to hit something, I have to roll equal to or above the armor class. Whereas if I had to perform a skill, I had to roll under. And here's the other issue. If I got a bonus when I'm performing a skill in real cyclopedia, a bonus is actually like a -4. So if I'm performing my intelligence check to interpret lore, I might get a -4, and that's actually a good thing. So people had an issue with that. So by the time 3rd edition came out, they'd introduced the difficulty class, and basically it's if I want to perform something or achieve a feat, think of difficulty class as the armor class of a feat or an idea or something my character wants to do using skills besides hitting somebody. So basically the same thing. It's like the armor class of a skill, and I can add my proficiencies or whatnot to my D20 roll, and based on how difficult the challenge is, I may have to roll a 10 or above, which is easy. I may have to roll a 15 or above, which is medium, or I may have to roll a 20 or above, which is hard. 25 is very hard, and 30 is impossible. So, no, it's a good system. It's well covered. What struck me as interesting in the Tom Mulvey Basic, there's 2 mechanics that use 2d6 for rolls. There's reaction rolls, especially monster reaction rolls. And this is genius because your chances of rolling a 2 or a 12 on 2d6 are only 1 in 36. And that's the extremes. That's basically a 2 is attack, a 12 is they're your best friend. You're much more likely to hit in the middle. The odds of rolling a 7 are 1 in 6. The reason being because I can roll a 1 and a 6, 2 and a 5, 3 and a 4, 4 and a 3, 5 and a 2, 6 and a 1. So all of a sudden, it's a lot more likely I'll roll in the middle. And why that's such a good thing for monster reactions is that it encourages role play. So it's, well, they're undecided. Well, maybe I'll throw in a few gold, or we'll promise them we'll be safe, or it makes us think of ways to expand upon our current situation as opposed to I attack, which is a good thing, right? The other interesting thing was the cleric's turn on dead table. Nowadays it's D20, especially in Chris Gonerman's Basic Fantasy. It's went over to the D20 as well. But back in the old days, in the basic set, it was 2d6. And I'll show you a graphic here. So basically, there's 3 numbers that are interesting on 2d6. And that's, if you look, you either had to hit a 7, a 9, or an 11. Now remember those numbers, 7, 9, 11 on 2d6. Why are those important? Well, the odds of hitting a 7 on 2d6 are around 58%, which is very close to rolling 10 or higher on d20, which is actually 55%. So there's your basically DC 10. The odds of rolling a 9 are 27.8% on 2d6. So you can see that's really close to DC 15. The odds of rolling 11 are 8.3%, which is a little bit better than trying to roll a natural 20, but it's kind of in between rolling a 19 and a 20 on your D20, so you're very close to a DC 20. So that struck me as kind of coincidental, and I thought, what a good way to make a skill system on 2d6, because it sort of favors the middle ground. So if you're a novice, on 2d6, if we get into the concept of dice pools, so if I've got some skill, let's say I apprenticed for a season as a navigator on a ship. So it wasn't my life course, but I went out with my uncle for the summer. He was trying to train me to be a navigator. Great. So I've got some skills. I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit. I went the adventuring path, and now I'm a rogue thief, and I like to, steal other people's gold, but I can still navigate. So I get 3d6, and I take the best 2 results. So all of a sudden, that my ability to hit that 7 just went way up. I mean, I'll get a graphic of the actual percentages for you at the end here, but you can see where that's a lot better than like a +2, +3, +4 even, just by adding an extra d6 into my dice pool. Now, if I was actually skilled enough to be a trade at this, so let's say in my past life I was a locksmith, and I was trained for years to do this, and I could do it. But all of a sudden, a bunch of orcs came through and wiped out my village, and I was one of the lucky survivors. But now I'm going to take my revenge, so maybe I'm not great at swords, but man, can I pick a lock. So now I'm up to 46. Take the best 2. So I can really hit those numbers now. Not only that, if you really want to push it for a skilled person, 46, take the best 2, then add 1. You'll see your modifier goes way up. Lastly, let's talk about a master. A master is somebody who's, well, they have mastery of their craft. They are noted amongst their peers as, one of the best around. They're the go-to person. Usually in my games, humans aren't always masters. It's usually elves because of their long lives, dwarves, because again, long lives, and gnomes. Gnomes just are dedicated to certain things, like crafting mechanical devices, even trap makers. Gnomes would be wonderful trap makers. So maybe they have mastery. Maybe your character is a master trapsmith. So not only can he find and disarm traps, but given time and materials, he can also make them. In this case, that's a 5d6. Take the best 2, and then add 2 to that result. And trust me, you can hit your 11s. I believe it's around 83% of the time, whereas somebody using 2d6, as we mentioned, only has an 8.3% chance. So you're literally 10 times more likely to hit that DC 11 than somebody who's a novice. And I think that's the way it should be. I'm happy with this. So my first video, I basically wanted to introduce the concept of where I'm going with my skill system for basic Dungeons and Dragons, the old school Renaissance D&D. On the next video, I'll be diving into how characters buy skills, what skills they can buy, the effects. Let me know your thoughts, and again, this is my first YouTube video, so nice talking to everyone, and if anybody has any ideas, let me know, and go basic.